Welcome to this edition of Martini Chats
with Jordan and Gates.
So for those who may have followed us over the years, our very first Martini Chat was 2023 that we put together when we started seeing the market start to turn upside down. And we wanted to share some insight into what was causing that. We talked about construction costs, inflation, reinsurance, supply chain issues like the chip. Do you remember the chip issue with cars?
Shortage, yep.
So we wanted to give you kind of a status update in 2025 to kind of inform you if we're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. So, what are you seeing, Gates?
So when we re-watched our video from 2023, we were like, man, you know, the number of cat losses, which are catastrophic losses that are over $1 billion. That's usually a good benchmarker of like what's going on in the market. And we were like, yes, there were 6 or 7 in 2023, and that was a big deal. In 2024, there were $27 billion plus cat losses. Interestingly, 17 of those were severe convective storms. So those are the ones that we see the most of in Mississippi. Only 5 were hurricanes, and then 1 of each for like major wildfire, flood, the ones that get more news coverage. So anyway, we're in an unprecedented time, as we like to say.
And it is causing unprecedented things to happen.
It is.
One thing that we're seeing is, I know we've done a chat on all things roof age. The good news about roof age is we are starting to see the market lighten a little bit on barriers to entry, meaning if you can get a homeowner's quote with a company. Roof age for the last year and a half, 2 years has been a big deterrent. If your roof was over 10 years old or 15 years old, we're starting to see that a little bit lessen. But the caveat to that is that we're seeing carriers come out with some really strict stipulations. So you probably are going to have a wind-hail deductible that we're not used to. That's become the norm in Mississippi. You might see actual cash value or a sliding scale instead of replacement costs. Those are all the things that have started to happen as a result of it. So good news that it's starting to lighten up a little bit. Bad news is that we're seeing some not so good news that goes with that. In addition, we're seeing lots more inspections. We have, for the last year or 2 years, we've been seeing lots of carriers come and inspect homes. They want to see what your roof looks like. They want to see if you have tree limbs overhanging your roof. They care about if you've got large jewelry collections, what kind of safety you have in your home, and how is that safe protected. They're starting to care about things that they didn't in the past, and we are still seeing a lot of those in non-renewals as a result. And unfortunately, we have to jump through some hoops to make sure that they stay on business as a result. So tell us about rates, Gates. What are we seeing in the market?
Rates. If we are going to talk about rates, I think that we're going to need bigger glasses.
Bigger glasses.
Bigger Martini glasses.
Cheers.
Rates are not great.
Rates are not great.
I would say on average, on the property side, we're seeing 25 to 30%, but upwards of 40, 50, sometimes we see 60% rate increases, and nothing really surprises us anymore, unfortunately. The same is true on the liability side as far as excess liability goes. Umbrellas, you know, those were policies that you could get for $200 for $1 million for a long time, and that's just not the case anymore. You know, those rates are well over 50% increases, and the carriers are getting very strict about offering coverage, and there are fewer markets than ever offering that coverage. So it's more important than ever, but it is more expensive and less available than ever.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
What about some trends? What are some trends we're seeing?
So trends that we're seeing in this market, one thing that's driving those rates is the length of time that it is taking to make repairs after a loss. That, you know, the longer that drags on, the more expensive it is for a carrier. They have to pay loss of use coverage, whether that's for your home because you need to live somewhere else after a claim while your home gets repaired, or if you need a rental car while your car is getting repaired. And those repair times are longer than ever, unfortunately, and that's due to a number of factors: labor shortage, material shortage, all those things. So it's unfortunate.
Another thing we've seen is as we start to have limitations in the standard market, we've seen a really big uptick in the what we call the E&S or the non-standard market. Those are companies, Lloyd's of London is the most common one we hear of, that are willing to write business when nobody else will. We, for better or for worse, because of all these limitations in the market, we've been forced to go that route. They don't typically have the most robust coverage, and they're chock full of limitations. So it's always important to know what coverages you're buying. But it's a necessary part of our industry, and we're seeing a lot more needed E&S options.
And yeah, there's so much more variation in those products too that you really need good advice more than ever right now in this market to figure out how to navigate it.
And that's what we're here for, right?
Here for.
So, moral of the story is don't shoot the messenger. We're just here to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly and be fully transparent. And if you have any questions, we're here.
Reach out.
And cheers.
Cheers.
The market.